who captains the Tigers?
Oh, it's a very good question, isn't it? Now, Trent Cotchin spoke yesterday. He spoke in very general terms about the handover at the age of, 31? I think the timing is right, first of all. He gave nothing away, Trent Cotchin. But this was going to be my question to you, because I would have thought a team that has been contending for as long as they have, they're flushed with options. Can they make a bad decision here?
Yeah, I don't know if they are flushed with options.
They've got leadership options everywhere.
Well, there isn't an obvious choice.
There is, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, and the more I think about it, it's probably heading one direction, and that is the Dustin Martin direction. Are you in agreement with that or not? Who do you think?
No, I'd like to give, if it was my choice, I'd see Jack Graham as the longer-term option, but he's 23 years of age, so he can just hang tight for a couple of years. In the meantime, I'd give it to one of the more solid citizens, speaks well, plays well, position never in any jeopardy, and that's Dylan Grimes. I would give it to Dylan Grimes at the age of 30, who's got a very good head on his shoulders, and he can just ease maybe a transition captaincy, if you like, for a few years. He could play until he's 33, 34, and then hand it over to Jack Graham is what I would do.
I wouldn't be up in arms about that. I mean, he impresses me. He did one of the best interviews I've ever heard was post last year's grand final.
Yep.
We had him on the Sunday. He's quite vulnerable and quite open, and he was just from that point I've followed his career even closer, and he's so impressive. You're right. Plays the right. He doesn't look like a captain to me, though. I don't know. There's something in me, and it's just this sort of gut feel about the aura about the best captains. Now, does Dylan Grimes have that? He doesn't have it for me. The more I think about it, I think Richmond are positioning Dustin Martin to be the captain of the Tigers.
So what do they do with that then? Because he won't be your stereotypical captain, because he will have to do so much more than what he's been accustomed to doing for over the. Of course he will. He'll have to go to the opening of an envelope. He'll have to go to he'll have to field questions.
Why? Just because everyone else has done that in the past?
Well, that's what I mean. They'll have to treat it differently. They'll have to shield him from a lot of that, I think, if that's his wish. That's been his modus operandi for his entire career up until now. The latter stages of his career, you're going to lump the captaincy on him.
I disagree. He is the most. He comes home from the airport and there's cameras waiting for him. What extra scrutiny will be on Dustin Martin just because he's got the captain next to his name? I mean, the story about him returning to training.
No, I'm not sure if it's extra scrutiny.
Led Channel 7's news. So I don't think there's any extra burden that will be with him because there's cameras following him around. You know what the captain's like. You know what the role. But I think he can do it. I think he can do it in his own way. And to your point, with those players around him, Vlosten and Graham and Grimes and Revold and Lynch, who's been a captain in his own right, they're there to do that. Cotchin's still there to do that heavy lifting. I wonder if one of the regrets of Buddy Franklin is that he never. I think he would be an excellent captain, Buddy Franklin, and the longer his career has gone, the more you hear about his leadership capabilities. And at the age of 32, he was put into Sydney's leadership group. Like at that stage, he would have been a great captain. I don't know. There's something in me that says he's done it all. Dustin Martin. Imagine the legacy if he went on to be a premiership captain.
It's
the only thing left for me. That's the way I would go. I understand it's not a lay down misère, and it's not super obvious for a lot of people, and I'd be really interested in the Richmond fans' thoughts on this. But the more the stories I get, they seem to be putting him out there just that little bit more. Richmond.
Don't get me wrong, he's immensely qualified. There's no issue there. I just wonder how they would go about it, Richmond. Even something as simple as, for most players, the Captain's Day, where they roll them out there at Marvel Stadium, and these guys have got to face solid questioning for an hour. There would be a swarm around Dustin Martin. Even that in itself would be entirely uncomfortable for him. Would they even send him to something like that, or could they possibly do co-captains, Richmond, and the other captain
send the other guy
does everything else?
Gee, I hate co-captains. I don't know. I know it's worked for a couple of clubs in the past, but I'm not a big fan of that. I think he's ready to go, Dustin Martin. But Tigers fans, I'd be really interested. We've got great prizes to give away if you want to get involved and give us your thoughts.
John he's in Taylor's Lakes. Welcome to the show, Johnny.
Good morning, Sam. Good morning, Kane. Sam, why do captains of today have to be the school captains, the clean-spoken, Dustin Martin, to me, as a Richmond supporter, he just epitomises what football's all about. He leads by example. In that 2017 season, going into the finals, I knew that he was going to carry us across the line, and he was saying, guys, follow me by my actions. I mean, I love to hear him talk. I used to love to hear bloody Michael Tuck talk when he did. Not very often, but when he did. Gary Ablett Sr. I mean, there's no reason why those guys can't be captains, and I would love Dusty to take over, not because everyone says it's a lay down there. I think he'd be great. He's a great leader.
Yeah.
He takes the team with him.
Hey, John, I agree with you. And I'm certainly not saying he's not a solid citizen away from all that either. All I'm saying is that as a captain, you are the face of the club. And in this case, it's one of the biggest clubs in the Cape.
He's already the face.
You've got corporate. No, but he's not put out there to meet corporates, to meet everyone will want a piece of the captain. Every single sponsor. And I'm no marketing genius or corporate guru, of course. But this is what happens. Patrick Cripps at Carlton, you sit down and have a chat to him about all the things that he's required to do. So if Richmond go in with Dustin Martin, I would have thought, unless his attitude does a complete 180 to this stuff and he becomes open to it, they're going to have to handle it a little bit differently, which I'm not saying they can't do or it's a hanging offence. Everything can be done, of course. I'm just saying it would have to be done differently.
Vividly remember sitting in a leadership meeting with Ken Hinkley in the early days of when he took over at Port Adelaide, and we were discussing what makes a great leader. And he said, look, what I want, the main thing from my leaders and my captain is that you play well on game day. That is, I'll never forget it, that is 95% of leadership is you consistently put your head over the footy and play well, and I can rely on you on game day. Now, there is nothing better than a captain's moment in a game. Now, who does that better than anyone in the game right now? Well, probably Martin. I just think the impact of having him as captain, I mean, what's left for him to achieve? Look, he may not want to do it. I understand all of that, but I just think, I hope in 10 years' time, if he said no, that he might regret it, because I think he'd be excellent.